Mother-in-law pretended to have dementia and stayed at her ex-daughter-in-law's home, even having the audacity to sleep in her daughter-in-law's room. At night, Aiko couldn't sleep because of her mother-in-law's snoring. Although the divorce had been processed, Aiko was nearly driven mad by this mother and son. At that moment, Aiko suddenly thought, the mother-in-law's memory had always been stuck around the time they just got married. Then how did she know that Aiko doesn't eat shrimp? Since it was only last year that Aiko got sick from eating shrimp and became scared of it. From this, Aiko deduced that her mother-in-law's dementia was feigned. To get rid of the troublesome mother-in-law, Aiko decided to put on an act of suffering. She approached her mother-in-law and began pouring out her heart, speaking of the grievances she endured over the past 20 years, claiming it was these grievances that led to her divorce. But without her husband, she felt lonely too. She felt guilty for causing her mother-in-law's dementia worry. To stop her mother-in-law from worrying further, Aiko decided to spend the rest of her life happily with her husband. Both the mother-in-law and Masayoshi heard Aiko's words. The mother-in-law secretly wiped her tears. The next day, the mother-in-law packed up ready to return to the countryside, even claiming it was her daughter-in-law's words that restored her memory. Before leaving, the old mother reluctantly held her son's hand. Her son promised to bring her back to live with him once he was settled. Meanwhile, since Masayoshi hadn't been back for several days, the landlord called but was berated by Masayoshi. The landlord explained that the misunderstanding of Masayoshi being a thief was entirely a mistake. But Masayoshi stated he would no longer live in a place without dignity. He told the landlord he would not return to that attic room, but he didn't expect that Aiko had changed the lock code. When he rang the doorbell, he realized Aiko had no intention of remarrying him. Last night's words were just to get rid of him and his mother.
어머니는 여기가 어찌나 연기 대상감이시든지 나까지 깜빡 속았지 뭡니까?
뭐야? 어머니가 치매 걸린 게 거짓말이야? 설마 이 사람아 그럴 리가 있어?
Aiko didn't understand. After all these years, Masayoshi still didn't understand his own mother. If it weren't for her acting so well, how could his mother willingly return to the countryside?
아이고 정말 당신 같은 여자를 믿은 내가 등신 머저리지. 아이고 됐네 이 사람아. 어떻게 사람 마음을 이렇게 농락할 수가 있어? 이젠 정말 당신 얼굴 보기도 싫어. 나한테 연락도 하지 말고 관심도 갖지 마. 아유.
What Aiko regretted the most now was getting involved with such a mommy's boy.
아 진짜? 하나 둘셋넷둘셋넷둘셋
Since Aiko discussed cooperation with Su Ying-chu, her status at the TV shopping center soared instantly. Today, Aiko was busy preparing for next week's show, when she suddenly received a call from her mother-in-law. Turning out she wanted to retrieve that button-down shirt. She also said she couldn't find the inspiration she had back then. Wanted to use that shirt as the representative piece for this program. Hearing Aiko silent, Ying-chu guessed if Aiko disliked that shirt and had thrown it away. Aiko quickly stated she planned to keep that shirt as a family heirloom. How could she throw it away? So she promised to return the shirt as soon as possible. But when she went home to get the shirt, she suddenly remembered that the mother-in-law had worn it away.